Curtis Mead is getting hot. Let this guy get a little bit of a rhythm. Just get him out there. He is going to hit. He is basically a Jonathan Aranda on the making. Okay, like it's the same Aranda problem.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Rays, your daily podcast covering everything Tampa Bay Rays. From game analysis to player interviews, we've got you covered with all the latest news and insights. My name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulysses Zambrano,
bringing you expert analysis and passionate discussions about our beloved Rays.
We're here to break down every play, every trade, and every milestone. In fact, this is our 7th season covering the Rays daily.
So grab your favorite Rays gear and settle in as we discuss, believe it or not, a Rays sweep of the Toronto Blue Jays at Steinbrenner Field and an ongoing 5-game winning streak. We also are going to talk within that about some players that are getting hot at the right time, plus much more from the exciting series and run that our Tampa Bay Rays are on right now.
Man, let's get into the takeaways because, first of all, what a sweep.
Yeah. 2
3-1 victories and then a massive win on Sunday, which was it's those games you enjoy to a certain extent because then it's no longer competitive, but it's nice to see the boys hit around.
Right.
And I believe it was that 5th, 6th inning where they just went off 9 in a row without getting an out, and that was pretty fun. It was a tough day out there for George Springer, though, in right field. My goodness, man. He had like 3 pivotal plays in that same inning.
Yeah, I guess he's not living up to that $150 million contract or whatever it was. Even superstars have their rough moments here and there, but it was nice to see a reverse clunker, if you will, by the 13-0 win. And then the wins on Saturday and Friday were a little bit more of the regular variety, winning 3-1, 3-0, or 3-1, 3-1, whatever it was. But Sunday was definitely the showstopper as far as 13-0, and hopefully that can carry over to this series against the Minnesota Twins. But Ulysses, do you want to get into your takeaway from the weekend and the hotness that is going on with our Tampa Bay Rays right now?
Well, in typical fashion, when the team is in a winning streak, that means usually that the offense is clicking on at least some cylinders, and some cylinders have been quiet throughout the 2025 season. And one cylinder indeed has been Curtis Mead. He's been quiet. But if you take a little bit of a look at his last 15 games, this man is slashing 300 with a 349 on base and a 550 slug. If you go even deeper, in the last 7 games, 421 average, a 476 on base with a 947 slug. Curtis Mead is getting hot. And I'm not saying anything more than he's getting hot. But what have we talked about him during this season, Kevin? Like what has been the biggest bugaboo about his season?
I think the overarching theme is the playing time and just getting more reps and more opportunities and more at-bats, because it's hard to get into a groove when you're getting, an at-bat or a pinch hit opportunity every here and there. You can't get better sitting on the bench. You have to face major league pitching, and you have to face it often to get comfortable, to get into a groove. That would be my thesis on that.
And I think we both fall on the same track. It's the playing time. And when you look at what his playing time has been lately, there's no wonder that he's getting hot. May 19th, he plays 1 for 4. May 20th, he plays 1 for 2. May 21st, he plays 2 for 3. May 23rd, he plays 1 for 3. May 25th, he plays 1 for 1. Let this guy get a little bit of a rhythm. Just get him out there. He is going to hit. He is basically a Jonathan Aranda on the making. Okay, like it's the same Aranda problem. They've got the tools. They've got the skills. They have nothing else to show you in AAA. It's either MLB or forever quad A guy, right?
Yeah, or trade them and let them play with the Colorado Rockies or the Chicago White Sox or something like that.
Which would be obviously great for him as a platform, but anemically would be probably devastating. But the issue is playing time. Right. You play this guy, he is going to produce. I know that you've played him at third, you've played him at second, you've played him at first. Third base, obviously the least at 3 times, second base 9 times, first base 15 times. I'm just saying, I know his overall numbers don't look so hot right now. 222 average and a 671 OPS with 3 bombs.
Hey, that's better than Chris Morel, is it not?
It's better.
That's right up there with Chris Morel.
It's right there with Chris Morel, people. Like, again, I know a lot of people are going to be thinking, oh, the clock is ticking for Mead when people are going to start to come back and all that. And I understand that, but I would like to see more Mead than Morel right now.
Yeah, and this is the time for a guy like Curtis Mead and others that are kind of on the quasi hot seat or a decision for the Rays of, well, what do we do with this player or that player when Ha-Seong Kim comes back, when Jake Mangum comes back, when Travis Jankowski comes back, when Johnny DeLuca comes back, when Richie Palacios comes back? What are you going to do with all that? And the only thing that Curtis Mead can control is playing well when given the opportunities, and that's what he's doing right now. I mean, it is nice to see the power stroke because the offseason ethos was, all right, he's gained 15, 20, 25 pounds of muscle. He looks like a totally different player. He's adjusted various things in his stance and his approach in the offseason. He goes off in spring training. Let's see if it translates to the regular season. It didn't early on, but now we're starting to see the long ball come into play, which is certainly nice and something that's needed for this squad. And I don't care how the long ball happens. If it's a long ball, that's fine. If it's along the left field foul pole or the right field foul pole or just gets out, it does not matter to me because it still counts as a home run at the end of the day, especially at Steinbrenner Field, because that has been, something that's been a challenge for the Rays most of the season. And you might be onto something about the humidity because we're starting to see more dingers across the board. And maybe it's also a byproduct of other guys on the team getting hot, and that, creates some opportunities for Curtis Mead where, pitchers and opposing teams have to focus on Junior Caminero or Brandon Lowe or Josh Lowe. And now here's this guy that nobody's really paying attention to that, gets into one and starts to get hot as well.
And that's exactly why you got to get these guys hot. And that's why Josh Lowe has been incredibly important to this team because, hey, guess what? That's one less focus that you need to give Curtis Mead, and then he can, allow himself to get hot.
All right. We have more to discuss. I want to focus on another player that has been on a heater of late, the offensive variety. But first, Ulysses, we have to tell something very important that is coming up next on the Locked On Rays podcast, your team every day. Well, the NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Are you new to FanDuel? Well, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head over to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel. They are the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, focusing on another player who has done very well of late, and that is something that for as much as he gets paid, that is what we would expect. Brandon Lowe. Brandon Lowe has also been on quite the streak the last couple weeks and really the entirety of May. In May alone, he has 6 home runs in a 909 OPS. That's quite the dichotomy from April, where he had a 211 batting average and a 561 OPS and 3 dingers. So, hey, we may have a home run battle on our hands between Junior Caminero and Brandon Lowe. I'll ask you, actually, who do you think finishes the year with more dingers, B. Lowe or Junior?
I would say B. Lowe.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know that
questions of being able to stay healthy for 162 or 120 or 110.
For me, the thing is, Bilal getting hurt, does that and missing time, does that outweigh the rookie struggles that I've seen from Junior Caminero and the dry spells? I would still put Brandon above, even with the missing playing time, because I think. And it's more than understandable. And we said it. Junior's not going to be a superstar right away. It's a lot to do. And even if it's 25 bombs, I still feel like that's a little bit lofty. Even if the numbers are still tracking that way, I would need to start seeing some sustainability from Junior to start to change my tune. But I'm okay with it. He's a 21, 22-year-old kid. Like, let him take his learnings.
He's going to take his lumps. He may have as many ground into double plays as home runs. He might have 25 homers and 25 ground into double plays, which is unfortunate. And it goes back to our conversation last week of he might get the final home run numbers, but there are going to be points where it's not going to be pretty by any means. But it's certainly nice to see, Junior Lofton 3-run dingers here and there, and the way he does it in the exciting fashion as well, especially when there's a hanger and he just sends it for a ride, 420 feet. But Brandon Lowe, I just want to note an interesting stat, and it goes back to the idea of you want your stars and your standout players when they are performing well, that's as well as the team goes. So since the beginning of 2024, in games where Brandon Lowe has homered, the Rays are a remarkable 22-7. So it's almost an automatic win when Brandon Lowe connects with one. But what we've seen over the course of the month, not really just the homers. I mean, that's great, and that's something that we can hang our hat on, especially when they're of the multi-run variety. They're not just solo shots. They're 2-run home runs or 3-run home runs. But I've noticed, well, he's actually, getting opportunities against lefties and capitalize on them. Maybe not so much with the long ball, few and far between perhaps, but, just kind of going up against a lefty, finding a pitch to drive and hitting it up the middle or the other way with a single. And if you look at some of his video and highlights from the past couple of weeks, he's really doing a good job of using his bat on pitches that are way outside that normally he may not do anything with, but he'll just poke it the other way.
Yes.
It's like, hey, not everything has to be a home run or driven 350 feet. You feel like you can put bat on ball, do it, and get it into the outfield for a single, and you're good to go. That's all you need. And what he's doing, it's not just like, all right, he's waiting for, a fastball down in him that he can turn on. I mean, he's really kind of doing damage against all types of pitches, be it a changeup or a cutter or a sinker or a high fastball, whatever it may be. But I just think Brandon Lowe is in a really good spot right now. And the question is, how long is it going to keep up? Because Brandon Lowe has always been that type of guy that, goes on a 30, 40 game trek, and then he falls back down to earth, then he gets it back again, then he falls back down to earth, then he gets it back again. So we just need to enjoy this for what it is, because there will be a point, maybe it's in June, maybe it's in July, where we'll look at the final numbers and it's like, well, what happened? He had amazing May, and now in June he's batting 200 with a 600 OPS. What's to give? So let's just take solace in the fact that he is doing extremely well right now, and not even just with the bat. He's made some amazing plays with the glove as well. Diving stops and balls, hit 110 miles an hour right to his face that he stops, turning double plays, all that good stuff.
The weekend overall for the Rays defense was incredible, but he had a play on Sunday just outstretched completely to his left. Even Jonathan Aranda, after he made the completion of the out, he gave him claps. Like it was It was an incredible play. Yes, I know if you're a negative Nancy, you're thinking, well, what about the drop ball in the 7th inning where it fell in front of Aranda, Bilao, and Josh Lowe? Okay, well, they can all be perfect, but guess what? You know what would
only
be annoying?
Taylor Walls can be perfect defensively. That is the one guy who is not allowed to make a mistake with his.
He's not allowed to make a
based
mistake
on the
bat. But you know what happens with those? It's the elongation of an inning, and then now you have an undue base runner that shouldn't have been there, and then maybe they cross the plate. Now you've given them a free run. That didn't happen because what? Pepiot picked them up. Pepiot, I'm going to work, and I think in 2-3 pitches, the inning was over. So it didn't really matter. But no, the defense has been incredible. Bilao has been incredible with the bat. I think as a Rays fan, if you're a Rays fan and you've been watching more than a season, you should know this is going to happen to Bilao. Get hot, super hot, and then going to go through tough stretches. So enjoy the hot stretches. You know that at the end of the season, the numbers are going to be there. They're going to be very similar to what they've always been. But enjoy the hot streaks because the cold ones are tough. A May an April like that. What you say? 500 something OPS. What do you have in April?
Let me look it up real quick. 561 OPS for the month of April, where he played 23 games.
That's tough, man. That's a tough May to watch, and obviously for him even more. But I would like to point this out. Not only the defensive work by Bilao, but there was a situation where Junior Caminero was at second base. And there was a little bit of a rundown. I forget what. Somebody was tagged out at home. I believe it was Yandy. It could have been somebody else. And then even after all the hoopla of the play, BA and Dwayne have like this little side conversation going like, why is Junior at second? And then Dwayne was like, I was about to tell you the same thing, BA. Like, why is, after all of that, why is Junior at second base when he clearly could have been at third after all that little runaround? And that just ended, open-ended conversation there by BA and Dwayne. And started thinking, not 3 minutes later, there's a shot of Junior coming in to the dugout, and guess who's talking to him? Bilao. Bilao's talking to him, and it seemed friendly, but it seemed like they were having like a conversation. And hey, you can conspiracy theorists or whatever, but it's I mean, is it 2 + 2 = 4? Because something happens on the field that even Dwayne and BA, who are pretty friendly, but when there's something wrong on the field, they will point it out.
They'll call out the mishaps and the mistakes.
They will call out.
Even with the coaches and the manager. Yes. I mean, hey, why wasn't that guy sent? Why is he substituting this guy in? Why is he bringing this pitcher in? Whatever it may be. I mean, BA is pretty good about, especially when it's an obvious situation of saying, hey, wait a minute. I don't know if that's the best move there.
Yeah, exactly. So even then they had this conversation, and 3 minutes later, I was so thankful that, whoever had the camera pointed at the dugout caught that. And that somebody in the control room said, give me that take, give me that shot. And I will die on that hill. Bilao was telling Junior, hey, what happened there?
Yeah, and that's Brandon Lowe taking a leadership role as a veteran. And it's something that we've seen with Kevin Kiermaier before. It's something we've seen with Evan Longoria before. And
yes, I
mean, that's kind of the expectation when you're one of the highest paid players on a multi-year deal and you've been with the team since day one. If a 21-year-old rookie, no matter if he's the top prospect in baseball or not, it is kind of your role and your job, along with the managers and the coaching staff, but to pull a young guy aside and tell him what's right and what's wrong. And hey, made a mistake, go out there, get it next time. You're better than that. And it doesn't have to be, combative or anything. It doesn't have to be the Longo BJ Upton situation, but it can be a learning moment. And that's what these guys are here for. I mean, that's probably a big reason why a guy like Travis Jankowski was brought in, several weeks ago. So that's also good to see. And yeah, excited for Brandon Lowe, and hopefully he can stay healthy, because I'd love to see the final numbers from a 148 games played from Brandon Lowe, because we have not seen that in some time. What was it? 2021, 2019?
2021. Yeah. My God.
Yeah. It's been a generation seemingly since Brandon Lowe has played a full season. So hopefully he's able to keep it up. And, the travel and playing in the hot conditions, that may take some wear and tear, but it remains to be seen what happens with all that. We do have some listener comments, but I just want to point out a couple other things from the weekend that was Chandler Simpson continuing to do what he does.
So 10-game
hitting streak, which is amazing. And you would just imagine when he gets a hit, he's going to try to steal a base, and that's pretty much what he does. Ben Rortvedt actually putting something together offensively on Sunday. I mean, pretty much everybody puts something together offensively on Sunday. How can you not when you win 13-0? But 3 RBIs, so maybe that's the start of something. But I just want to pinpoint the starting pitching of the Rays. Ryan Pepiot, Shane Baz, and Drew Rasmussen. They were all pretty much fantastic in their own way. Pepiot with probably the most impressive of those, with 7 innings, allowing just 3 hits and 4 base runners, none in scoring position. But it is nice when, you don't necessarily have to win 13-0, but if you get pitching performances like that, 3 runs will do it. That's all you need really to get it done. And I know we had been critical of Shane Baz, and hopefully this is the start of him getting back into form. He did have those 3 walks. Luckily, it didn't create a lot of mistakes as far as runs scored. That's something that he's going to have to tamper down. But his final line on Saturday was much better than the last 4 or 5 that we'd seen over the course of the month. But yeah, there was just good play all around from the Tampa Bay Rays. And then we put it out on the social medias, on the X machine. What is your biggest takeaway as a fan from the Rays weekend sweep of the Blue Jays? Jake Stokes says, this is why it's so frustrating when they get 1 or 2 hits in a game. Hopefully this is the launching point going forward for the rest of the season. Our buddy Ryan Hill says, offense is coming alive. Pitching is very solid leading into the middle third of the season. Tough decisions coming soon with reinforcements on the way. Happy to see them clicking again. Tough test against the Twins next series. Josh Lowe from YT says, Josh Lowe has created a much-needed spark for this team. I hope he can stay healthy. And then Josh Freeman Goat says, Brandon Lowe, he's hot.
He's hot, man. And again, you got a very hot team in the Minnesota Twins coming in, and we will be there for Monday evening's game, Kev, and it should be fun. So hopefully we can. I mean, the W now is basically on us. We have more of a responsibility here to bring the W for Locked On Rays listeners. So we're going to try to do that. But hey, that's a hot team coming in. If the bats stay hot, I don't see any reason why this team can't put up, any runs against another team. This is when this team is going this well. There's really nothing much more. The defense works, the starting pitching works, the bullpen is solid. You get timely hits. Sometimes when you're lucky, you get 13 runs up across the board. So hopefully a little bit more of that, because again, you have to take advantage of these home games, Kevin. They're about to leave. Right. They're about to be done-ish for a long time.
Mm-hmm. And then final thing here, it is Memorial Day, so happy Memorial Day to everyone. I would imagine that most everybody is off work, but in school. But take a moment to just thank a veteran and thank the servicemen and women that are out there. All gave some gave all. So just remember that, and I'm sure there will be a presentation of sorts during tonight's Rays game, which will be at. In the meantime, thank you for making Locked On Rays your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long, you can get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on the YouTubes or wherever you listen to those podcasts.